Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wolves podcast. My name is Matt Cooper and today we're joined by three wonderful guests. We'll start with Dave as a party. Dave, how you been keeping, mate?
I'm very well, mate. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm feeling Phil. Finn, how are you?
Very, very feel. Yeah, all good. Thank you, mate.
Very Phil. And Harry Mansell of the 77 Club. How are you, son?
I'm also very Phil. Thanks for having me on.
Love that. Yeah. If anyone's wondering what we're going on about, just Google Alexander Usyk Phil, and you'll understand what we're going on about. Oh, finally, boys, Wolves are back to winning ways. Or, well, I'll say back. It's been a while. 2 wins on the bounce. We'll look at those 2 games: the Southampton game, the Newcastle game. We'll preview the Villa game. I'm going to say a derby then, but I know people will be commenting saying it's not a derby. We'll also be doing a Room 101 feature where our 3 guests will be putting something into Room 101 from Wolverhampton Wanderers. And then we've got loads and loads of questions from you guys that we'll try and do our best to get through. But let's start with the Southampton game at St Mary's last Sunday. I think it will be last Sunday, yeah. Dave, what were your thoughts on that, mate? Did it paper over the cracks or are you just happy to win?
No, I'm just happy to win. It was probably, at the time, our worst performance of the season overall. Actually, I say that, bar Brentford, actually. One of, it wasn't up there with the games, the sort of opening 3 games. But I suppose that shows how quickly maybe Bruno is starting to learn about the Premier League, how you can't always play this attractive attacking football and get the results. Sometimes you do have to sort of dig in deep and, just try and get the job done. Change the front 3, and drop Neves, much to the disgust of many, many people on Twitter. But normally when managers do that, especially when Nuno used to do that, we normally come out with the 3 points, to be fair. So in the end, our best chances were created from route 1 balls from Jose Sarr, which I don't think anybody really expected. But we saw Jimenez, and it was the same on Saturday. We saw Jimenez slowly come back to his best form. I think took the goal really, really well. And I think it wasn't a vintage performance, wasn't the Bruno Lage performances that we've seen so far, but we did what we had to do to get a win, and it's a sign of a good team when you can play badly and still get a win, and that's the case for the last couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't the free-flowing football that we've been accustomed to, especially the first 3 games, but as we say on this podcast, for the last, 8 years, we've been going 3 years, results over performances, but when the performances don't get the results, then that's when you start to moan. But Finn, did you go to the game?
Yeah, was I the only one? Yeah, am I the only?
Yeah, I think you were, mate. I'd gone to a festival the day before, so I was good for nothing. Yeah. That's my excuse anyway.
Yeah.
How did you find it, mate? Did you have a good day?
Yeah, we'd literally just pulled up in Southampton when the team news came out. It's a long journey, so we were like, oh, bloody hell, we've gone all the way for this. Just pulling up. I don't know if people know at Southampton, there's like them massive, I don't even know what they are. It's hard to explain. You're going to have to Google it. If you go on Google Maps, there's these massive circular things next to Southampton. I don't know what they do, but I'm curious every time. Anyway, the football.
Next to the ground?
Right next to the ground. There's I don't know what their purpose is, but they take up a lot of room. You could get a lot of cars on there if they wanted an extra car park.
You carry on talking, mate.
Just whack Google Earth on
Maps, because it's probably going to be something really, really simple.
It could be, yeah. Please fill me in it. I think it's 3 times in a row. I'm like, what are they for? But down to the actual football.
I was going to say.
Oh, mate, the gas towers, they don't use them in the
fit much gas in it. There's nothing around.
No, they rise. Oh my god!
Oh, do they?
They're called gas risers. Basically, they used to store gas in them, and where it's got the big circular structure. That's got something like a thing in it that rises when it's full of gas.
What the hell are we
Jesus!
You learn something new every day, people.
If you're over the age of 16, you'll know what one is.
Can they play at the back?
Anyway,
yeah. Who Gaz Riser?
Gareth Riser.
Riser at the back.
Shit already. It's 6 minutes in.
Sorry, football. It's just educational, this podcast as well. To a few people, it was to me anyway. But no, yeah, it was a nice day. It's lovely. Southampton's a lovely place to go to. Winchester, we stopped. I just mentioned I won a McDonald's Monopoly, so it was all going well. And I didn't think we'd get the win based on the first half. It was really poor. I think my dad on my video at half time was saying that we're going to be in the championship. Probably it was really, really bad. But it was overreactive. As Dave said, it was sort of route 1. It wasn't the football we'd been promised, but as we got the result, no one's going to really talk about that. I feel like the last few games, I think ever since Brentford, to be fair, we've gone, well, that'd be fun to to play shit and like do it the dirty way. Do you know what I mean? And it feels like the last few games, like going down when we're 1-0 up and all the clever bits are starting to come into our game. And I suppose that's a good thing. And as you say, we're playing poorly and getting the results. And every time we played well, we haven't. So maybe shit football all the way at the moment.
Yeah. I think they're called gas holders, by the way, not gas risers, but
Gaz Holder, get him in.
Gas holder. Great player. Can you play centre half? You're going to need it. We'll come on to that. Harry, what were your thoughts on the Southampton game? Obviously, you were buzzing because Jimenez was on the score sheet and equals AdSense equals money in the bank.
Yeah, well, first half, I thought him, Pedence, Hwang was quiet. The first half was dreadful as a spectacle, I thought. It was two bad teams, but we come out second half and we were the better team, I thought, and it was a great goal by Jimenez. I think Southampton looked really poor and we weren't much better, but thankfully we ground out the win. And the 3 points were huge, weren't they? Especially after the Brentford game. And yeah. It was about Raul and Sarr on the day, wasn't it? Sarr was brilliant as well.
I know Raul got all the plaudits, but I thought Jose Sarr was man of the match. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. And you know what? I've been a big fan of him all season. I know he's had a couple of, the Tottenham game, you could argue shouldn't have given away the penalty. The United goal, he potentially could have saved that, but he's kept us in so many games. Even the Newcastle game, he made a great save. But Dave, how good was it to see Raul back on the score sheet and not having one going off his arse, but an actual beautiful solo goal?
Oh, mate, it was just like I've never. It was weird because this is going to sound a bit. I don't know. I started getting a little bit emotional when he'd scored. It was just like it was a little bit.
Where you're coming from?
I know. No, it almost felt like I can't imagine the weight off his shoulders. It just felt a weight off. Like I just took almost a sigh of relief, thinking, right, this might be. And it's such a cliche. If he scores one goal, he'll be back. And it just even on Saturday against Newcastle, it just seemed like it took so much pressure off him. But the way it was just a menace all game, and I never really had sort of the privilege of watching Steve Bull play much, but it's just that sort of goal that I'd imagine Bully would score, literally getting into the defenders and, just forcing his way through. And he did that, not just the once against Southampton. He should have definitely done better with the second chance right at the death, either hitting it a lot earlier or playing in Adama. And we could have, been 2-0 up then. But it was massive. And obviously it was the effect of having a selfie with me in Sainsbury's Local the day before next to the meal deal section. So,
what did you say to him when you met him?
Oh, mate, it was...
Bearing
in mind, it's weird, right? Because that week, from the Saturday I saw him to the Sunday before... So on the Sunday before I went, and as I walked in, bear in mind, it is in Compton, but a tiny Sainsbury's. As I walked in, Leander Dendoncker walked out that first day, and oh, bloody hell. On the Tuesday, as I went to pay, Jimenez was paying on the Tuesday as well, and left. Then on that Saturday, I walked in, was getting my sandwich, looked to my right, and Jimenez was there. And I just froze for a sec. I was like, do I say something? Or I was like, Raul, can I have a picture, please? I was like, yeah, of course. And I had it, and then it was the most awkward thing ever because he was.
Where's he from again?
Yeah, Wales.
Hey, man, of course.
Hey, Dave, nice sneakers.
You want a Twinkie, man?
Yeah. He was stood behind. There was me, another guy in the queue, and then Jimenez in the queue, and this guy was loving it. But yeah, Donk was in Sainsbury's at that time as well. The same on the Saturday at the same time. So if I see Donk, I'll have a selfie with him as well.
That big white thing with a fucking net on, Raul. If you want more like
he was holding oranges on the picture. So everyone was saying it was to do with that. So, but yeah, goal and 2 assists since we met. So
what was his order? Do you know? Was he a meal deal or?
Nah, he was getting he had satsumas in his hand, or tangerines or oranges, whatever you want to call them. That was all I saw. That's all I can remember, if I'm honest. But it was weird because bearing in mind, this was Saturday at 2 p.m. and they were playing they normally travel in the afternoon if they're playing on the Sunday. But maybe they were about to leave, I don't know.
Did they still stop over the night before at home? Do you know?
Yeah. Even for home games, I think they're staying at a hotel.
Isn't it? They stop.
Yeah. And then for away games, they normally go the evening before, yeah. So maybe
I can't get over your Raul impression there, mate. That's going to be...
Normally I'm alright impressions. That one, I don't know what it was.
Hey, man.
Like an American high school teenager in a film.
These eyes are so
Give me your lunch money.
Yeah. You dork. Oh, that's definitely been clipped up. That is. So yeah, back to anyway. I think it was a little bit not negative, or I think pragmatic's probably the best word to describe it. It did the job. It wasn't offensive. It wasn't defensive. It just did the job. But we needed that after the Brentford game. Definitely needed that. And we're moving on to Newcastle. And I came into this game thinking there is absolutely no way we're going to lose this game. Like, I just cannot see Newcastle beating us. And of course, I was right. But Finn, how did you see the game last Saturday? A very, very wet Molyneux. Not that you'd know in the posh seats, but Harry will come on to tell you how.
He had the heated, padded seats, didn't he?
Yeah.
I wish. Man City have them,
Heated, padded seats.
Yeah, and I think it's mad. I sat next to just another caveat. What's the bloke that came to us? Dennis Suarez, was it? I sat next to him at Man City once, and they said this kid's going to be good. And then he went to Real. Is it Atletico Madrid? I don't know who's at one of them, but I remember he was on loan at Arsenal and didn't play a game. Anyway,
you probably
it was
Dennis Suarez. No,
yeah. But no, Newcastle. That's what we're saying. Very wet. Lots of traffic as well getting in. I was quite late. But no, it was. It's how every Newcastle game was, to be honest. We didn't actually have, looking at the stats afterwards, I think it was the first time we've been beaten on XG, wasn't it? And yet we'd actually won. It's one time we're normally the XG warriors, but this time maybe not. We basically had two or three clear-cut chances and scored two of them, and it's basically the same goal twice, and that is going to be a really promising link-up, I think. I would personally, with games going forward, I think Traore, he's got to make that right-wing spot his, because Trincao, the third clear-cut chance was that one, wasn't it? How he hasn't buried that. I won't go over everything. I know we're going to go over these in stages, but overall... I was
going to say...
covered everything. There we go. Villa anyone? But no, it was how every Newcastle game goes. They were always going to get a goal. Like, I feel like every time we concede to Newcastle in these 1-1s, like, do you remember last year, Patricio just not having a front post and then the free kick going in? It's always a free goal, so thank God we just got another one.
I remember Steve Bruce after the game went, I don't remember my keeper making a save. Well, that's probably why you lost him, mate.
Was he from Edinburgh there as well?
There or thereabouts, as he always used to say. But Harry, how did you see the game? It was a very wet Molyneux, wasn't it? Are you going to tell me how the roof at the North Bank?
Yeah, so obviously, first of all, Newcastle are shite, aren't they? So that's why we won.
Newcastle are gash klaxon.
Yeah, they are, and I thought we weren't. I didn't think we played that well, but again, we did the job. But yeah, obviously we 1-0 up. Great goal by Hwang. Rowland Hwang on the day. Incredible. But it was that wet on about the 35th minute, I think it was. I went down the bottom. So I missed Trincao smashing the bar. I missed their goal. So I saw them on the highlights after. But Matt, you can back me up. You saw me at half time. I look like a drowned rat, didn't I? So
yeah, I mean, you said to me earlier, like I had to go down 35 minutes because I was that wet. I was like, "Do you mean you went for a pint?"
Was that wet? Well. Was Hwang's goal that good?
Yeah. I was soaked in enjoying. No, but it was like, it's weird because the first three games of the season when we lost 1-0, we were incredible, weren't we? But you could argue in the three games we've won, we've been worse than we were in them three games. But we got the job done. That's all that matters. But there's definitely a lot to improve on.
I agree, and Dave, talk me through that Hwang Raul link up, that green link, because that is looking a little bit spicy, isn't it?
Well, I thought I was going to be, when I watched it, I just thought, right, you got a player here, got a little bit of pace, good on the ball, all of a sudden getting in behind, which we've lacked, for the last couple of years, and I thought, hold on, his play style is very similar to Diogo Jota. So obviously I said that on my review after the game, and then we did the fans react, about 3 other people said the same thing. I was like, oh well, it's obviously not just me then. So it is as mad as it sounds, it is almost something that we've missed, especially last season with Jimenez injured. We had nothing like that. We had Fabio Silva, who obviously wasn't ready. We had Willian Jose, who was like a statue. So it's good to have someone there with Raul. Raul's not just a goal scorer; he's someone that just contributes all throughout. And I put his heat map on Twitter after the game. He was just all over the pitch, and people were saying, well, that he shouldn't be doing that, but as almost like a complete forward, it's just what you do. And he's someone likes to get on the ball, drive forward with it, and if you got someone making these clever runs in behind, that's gonna be the result. And I think maybe that's what Bruno has seen as effective and as dangerous as Traore can be. He's not intelligent enough to make those sort of clever runs in behind. And maybe that's why Bruno hasn't started in these last couple of games. But yeah, two good balls, almost two identical goals, really. One with the left, one with the right, but similar sort of angles, and slotted them both past Darlow. But really, really impressed, and I think it's a goal every 80 odd league minutes for him so far, which is a really, really good return.
I can see this. To be fair, I can see the similarities and the comparison with Jota. And both Jota wasn't stocky, but he was strong, wasn't he?
He was weird. He was weird on the ball. So hard to get off the ball.
Slow centre of gravity. Drives infield with the ball really well. You'd very rarely see Jota try and take it to the byline, would you?
Yeah.
And Hwang is similar to that, but with Hwang, I know we've only seen him a handful of times, and it's easy for us to wax lyrical and say he's the best thing since sliced bread, like we did with Ait-Nouri after the Palace game last season. He dropped a 0 out of 10 at Leicester. I feel if he's within the width of that goal, that there's a very good chance we're going to see the ball at the back of the net. And I've not felt that with a player coming off the wide position since Jota. Even Neto, probably not as much. So for me, I can see why the comparison's being made. But you raise a point. I think it's either you or Harry, Dave, about Traore. Watching that game Saturday, dare I say it, I felt like we had a bit more balance with that front three. Now, I'm not saying that Trincao played well, but I just felt like that the attacking output just had a bit more balance to it. What do you think to that, Finn?
Yeah, I think Dave touched on it there as well about you wouldn't say before we signed Hwang that what we lacked was pace, but I think he uses pace in a complete different way. As in, everyone wants it to feet in the Wolves team, and he's the only one that I've really seen for Raul to play it into. He can take it, as the ball's moving, not just to feet. I think Neto was, as you say, was quite good at it as well. But no, it did feel balanced, even though Trincao dropped a bit of a stinker. I just think there is still promise there for if Adama is whipping the ball in and he's on the right wing, you can then have two getting into the box that can finish in Raul and Hwang. I'm interested to see it, and especially, I know we'll get onto it later, but if Matt Target, he'll be begging Traore doesn't start, so for me, he's got to start next game. But I do see that, and people say, I've seen a lot of people say, if you play Adama Traore, you're going to be forced into playing Adama ball, and that doesn't normally, it's going to look good, but it doesn't normally bear goals, assists, productivity. You've got to put in a really good ball to the back post and pray that Raul's got his headband on properly. And it doesn't quite bring the number. So we did look more balanced. I agree. I don't know. There's options there. There's so many options. I think it's going to take a while to figure out those three spaces. There's so many good players for those places. It's exciting.
With our wide players, though, they've all got very different profiles in terms of what they offer. It's mental. Like, they're not just four wingers or four inside forwards. Like, they've all got that little bit of the game that they edge one another on. So it is interesting. But I don't like Trincao. I think a lot of people look at his body language and think he's not arse. But
I think there's a great player in there.
Yeah, I think he's extremely intelligent. I know he fluffed that chance. He's fluffed a lot of chances, but some people today, when he got called up to Portugal, saying how's he been called to Portugal? He's shit. I'm like, how?
He sombrero flicked someone.
He's not shit. I think he's done all right, but I know what you're saying.
You got to bear in mind with Trincao, once again, this is a guy that has played he didn't actually play a huge amount of first team football for Braga. Obviously had a lot of promise and went to a very disjointed Barca team last year. And then has come to another, in 2 years after, another brand new country again, in a completely different style of football, very physical, the Premier League this year as well. And I think, I was disappointed with him, and I'll be honest, I think I would have expected more. But why I've expected more is because we've signed this young player, or the talented player from Barca, and I almost expected him just to take the Prem by storm straight away. But when you actually sit down and look at it and be fair, I think, that's the reason why. And sort of going back to what you were saying about Hwang and Adama and so on, I think what Hwang is clever with his pace, and he's a lot more intelligent with. On Saturday especially, he was getting the ball and starting counter-attacks. And every day of the week he could burn their right back, he could burn their left back for pace. Right back, again. He could burn their right back for pace. But he didn't. He stopped and kept, almost allowed other Wolves players to come into the game. Whereas Adama would get that ball, just drive it up into the corner, and then either whip it in with no one in the box or just play himself into trouble because he's in the corner with 2 or 3 Newcastle players around him and no support. Whereas Hwang was almost starting the counter-attacks but realising that he was going nowhere and just waited and just created this build-up play. And I think he was intelligent with that. And the fact he scored so early almost meant Newcastle had to come out and play us. Whereas you remember last year, behind closed doors game, they just sat deep 11 men behind the ball the whole game. And I would have hated to see that on Saturday. So it was almost a good job that he scored quite early. But you're right, Matt. I think they've all got balance. Podence, I felt he was quite busy against Southampton, but almost a bit like Trincao, just didn't have the end product. It was almost as if he was starting the moves but couldn't quite finish the moves, whether it was a shot or the final ball. Same with Trincao on the Saturday just gone. Starting moves, creating moves, getting himself in good areas, but couldn't finish off the move, whether it be a pass or a shot. But Hwang almost just did everything perfect on Saturday, which is good to see.
Like the finishes as well, left foot, right foot, like it's people. And again, people say, "Oh, he reminds me of Son." Well, probably because he's South Korean, but
Yeah,
I get it though, because like he's the same. Like if it falls to him on his left, falls to him on his right, it doesn't matter. Like he doesn't have a weak foot, but he is promising. But like I say, it's important we don't just gas him up completely because he could drop a stinker at Villa. But I can't see that being the case. And Jimenez coming, go on, mate.
like I was going to say, people around me were saying, "Oh, wow, how much is it going to cost us? Have we even got a buy option on him?"
11 million, isn't it?
Yeah.
12
Well,
million.
I think it's about 15 million euros. So I think it's sort of between 11 and 13 million-ish, something like that, which I think is really, really strong business. Even if he only gets you,
£12.7 million on today's exchange rate.
even if he gets you sort of, he's 3 goals in 3 or 4 games already in the league. Even if he gets you into double figures, which is on course for, that'd be a really decent amount of money to spend on a player that is going to get you double figures in the Premier League.
And by the end of the season, Wolves will have got that back in YouTube ad revenue at the moment.
Flipping heck,
the highlights
my
will
word.
be free.
Absolutely ridiculous. But he was almost like coming in between the fullback and the centre half and into those channels, and it just worked perfectly well. But Jimenez dropping a bit deeper and picking the ball up, but this time making the right decision and acting quickly. Whereas a few games ago, he'd get the ball and he'd freeze, and that turn he did for the second goal, you can see that partnership working really well because he's an out and out forward, isn't he, Jimenez? He's got absolutely everything. The only thing he doesn't probably possess is electric pace, but he's so intelligent, and he's got his 2 assists now, 1 goal. So hopefully he gets back amongst the goals and carries on that rich vein of form. But before we move on to the Villa game, I mentioned this in the fans react. Fullbacks at the minute just aren't doing it for me. Like I first and foremost, I expect more from Semedo because of how much money he's cost. He's a seasoned pro. We know he can do it. Marcel, not so much because he's a centre half playing left wing back, but it's just so passive. And the system that we play requires fullbacks to bomb on the outside, which opens up the space on the inside for the forwards to come in. But it's just side to side. They'll get so far and they'll turn and give it back. I don't know. I just want a bit more. I want a bit more positivity. I don't know what you lads think about that. It was annoying me.
Yeah, I think with Semedo, he just kept turning around and passing it back, didn't he? I don't know if it's because he didn't have Trincao to link up with. When Traore's in front of him, he does seem to link up well with him. Marcel, like you say, he started the season quite well, hasn't he? We're all happy he hasn't been injured. But for me, I think it's time Aït-Nouri comes in there. Because as you mentioned, centre-back, isn't it, really? Left centre-back probably, and a free's probably be his strongest position. But he's done a job. And Semedo missing all his chances as well. So he's not the best to start, has he?
Can do it, though. We know he can get forward. He's probably he's better offensively than he is defensively, although he's not bad defensively. But I'd have started Aït-Nouri against Newcastle because it's that kind of game. You haven't got to worry about St. Maximan because you'll just go man for man with him, like they did, and pretty much sounded him out of the game. I did a really good job on him. But I just want a bit more from him. I slated Hoover before the start of the season because I didn't know what he did. But when I've seen him this season, he's done well and got forward better than Semedo. But you're not going to change both fullbacks, are you? It's going to be you might bring out Nouri in for a game. I definitely wouldn't be doing it for the Villa game as well. But
yeah, I'm still not 100% convinced with Hoover.
I get that.
You're all right. I think with Semedo, it's just that amount of money that we did spend on him. It's the positive is that he's getting in those positions that we never saw him get into last season. The negative is obviously that he's not putting him in the back of the net, and that's when I've seen it a couple of times. And to be fair, I think I even mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. You're seeing Doherty being brought back into the conversation again with him getting in those positions, but him taking those opportunities. The left-hand side, I think, yeah, you're right. Newcastle was almost the perfect chance for Aït-Nouri to come in for Marcel. I think he would have done for Southampton if he obviously didn't have to have time off with the sort of the concussion injury thing. But will he do it for Villa now? Bruno said this week that he's happy to chop and change the team until he finds the right balance. I don't think he'd be brave enough to drop any of that back five for Villa, if I'm honest. Even Bolly's probably wondering at the moment how he can get a game, but I think defence is probably one of those areas where you do need that little bit of consistency, especially with a back three. You need to try and play that same back three as much as you can. So, yeah, but Aït-Nouri, sooner rather than later, has got to come into the team. Marcel was poor against Southampton for me.
Just limits us as well. And like we get into some good positions there because, like I said, as the wide players come inside, if the fullback or centre half comes across or whatnot, that leaves a lot of space on the outside. But the ball coming into the box is going to be shit.
We saw Aït-Nouri in pre-season play a little bit more advanced as well. So Bruno obviously knows he can attack as a wing back, and he looks. I can't remember what game it was, possibly against United or Spurs in the league. He came on for a 5-minute cameo and looked really, really decent as well. So just a matter of time really, but yeah, I'd try and get him in the team as soon as we can. But unfortunately, it might take a little injury or a suspension to Marcel before it's safe to do so.
So I definitely want to have him for think about, but so I need competition for places, mate, because for situations like this, we need different kind of players for different profiles, whatnot. But we'll talk about the Villa game now. It's a big. A lot of Wolves fans do downplay it, and so do Villa fans. But we're the two West Midlands teams in the. But you'd argue with Staffordshire, but in the league, it is a bit of a derby. I reckon we can go there and get a result, Finn.
I think so. I've been watching their last few performances with a bit more interest now. Saw Nuno did one over on them, getting king. But no, yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting to see. I thought with the players that they bought, they wouldn't be playing the formation they're playing now, playing a 5 at the back, and then Ings and Watkins up top, which should, in theory, be a really fruitful partnership. But no Buendia in that team, no Bailey in that team because they're not really fitting, and they're the most dangerous players for me. So be interesting to see if they stick with that. They have done. I haven't really saying I've looked at their last few performances. I wouldn't be able to tell you where they are in the table. Probably somewhere around the middle.
Point ahead of us.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, we've lost them. But no, yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes. I think if they do play 5 at the back, the only time we've come up against a 5 at the back, we were absolutely done system-wise with Brentford. So it will be interesting to see. And as we were just talking about the wing backs, I think you have got to question our system when chances are falling to people that can't finish. Like if our system is creating chances for Semedo, not necessarily Marcel because he doesn't cross the halfway line, but you've got to then look at how do you get the best players in the best positions to do so. And I don't know, I'm sort of trying to find a way to get a 4 at the back going, but I don't think he's going to realistically. But I've just got a vision of Villa doing us exactly like Brentford did, 5-3-2, and I don't know.
I don't think any of those centre halves at the minute are good enough to play in a back 4. Maybe one of them with another centre half coming in, but I see why he's playing the back 5, and he even said he wants to play in a roundabout way. He wants to play a 4, just hasn't got the players to do it. But because Cody being a 4, and yes, he's played it for England, but he's played it against like Andorra and whatnot. Like it's just it just would not work. But it's I think it's gonna be a tasty game. I'm surprised, Harry, that it's a 3:00 on a Saturday.
Yeah. Same. Great though, isn't it? It's great. Can't beat 3:00 on a Saturday. And I think it's the first time in a few years that we've gone to Villa and I haven't been really confident we're going to win. Like, I'm quite worried about the game, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be easy. And the only game I've really watched them against this, I didn't watch them against Spurs, but I watched them when they played Man United and won 1-0. And they were really good that day. I don't know if they're just up their level because it was United away, but I'm quite concerned. Ings, Watkins. Our defence have got to be on it, and let's just hope we can go there and get another 3 points. But it'd be a tough game. I'd take a draw, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I would as well, mate. But You always want to get one over your rivals, and
You do.
it is a rivalry for me because I live in Birmingham. Like most of my mates are Villa fans, and they tell me that we're not fussed about Wolves, but if they lose, my
They
mate
are.
will phone them. Yeah, even the AVFC Twitter account puts like on your when the fixtures come out and derbies for this
Oh,
season.
yeah,
It's just
I know,
Wolves, yeah. And charging fans, what is it, nearly £50 a ticket, something like that.
Mad.
Was it £50 a ticket? I'm pretty sure it was, but. That's what happens when the big boys are in town, and you want to play the
Category
top
A
dollar.
games, mate. Yeah.
Category A. Me and
Only
Dave
going to
will
watch the
both be
Wolves.
yeah, me and Dave will both be there. Are you looking forward to the game, Dave? And do you think Wolves will get the dub?
When we play our rivals, I think for Villa, I hate playing them at Villa Park, but I always favour us at Molineux. For Blues, we always do them at St Andrews, but they normally do us at Molineux. Albion, to be fair, not playing them in
Dickers everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So going to Villa Park, I'm not that confident, if I'm honest. Last time we went, I did some fan commentary thing and we lost 4-1.
That one.
Remember that?
Bjarnason.
Yeah. So fingers crossed we can get a win. And then we had him in the Carabao Cup when Nuno played the under-12s. So hopefully proper team out. We might have a chance, but. It'd be interesting to see how Bruno what the build up is like before the game next week.
Was it last year when Sace missed that sitter, lads? I'm just trying to think of the last
Oh
game.
God, yeah.
One of
yeah.
these,
wasn't
one
it?
of these.
Yeah.
I
that
got
0-0 that
crate.
Yeah.
I got for a crate of John Smith's watching that because it was just like
A dreadful.
I know.
Cody had a chance as well, didn't he? That game.
He did,
He
yeah.
got
I was
that bad.
thinking that, yeah.
Oh,
it was horrendous that game. I remember a girl I was seeing at the time. We both watched it together, and she doesn't really like football, and she was like, "This is shit. How do you watch this every week?" And I went,
Definitely like it now.
I was like that because of that clown in charge, peddling obviously the Nuno out. But yeah, I think we can go there and get a result. But it's not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. But we won't preview the Leeds game because there's going to be another podcast before then. Because obviously we got the international break this weekend and then Villa on the 16th. So no preview for the Leeds game. But chaps, I'm going to ask you for your Room 101s now. If you're not sure, any of the listeners who this could be controversial, if you're not sure what Room 101 is, it's essentially you bring an item each and you decide. We bring an item each that you never ever want to see at Molineux again or Wolves again, and it goes into Room 101, and we never hear, see, or speak about it ever again. So, lads, you've got to think, carefully with this. I'm going to start with Finn. What are you bringing to the table for Room 101 and why?
I've got a few, but I think I'm between two. One's the parking situation, but I feel like more people are going to relate to. I feel like more people are going to relate to the music inside the stadium. So
Finn, can I tell you now, that is definitely not going into Room 101, mate.
Okay. Well, I'm just throwing it out there because I'm not a terrorist. I'm fed up of being treated like one. And but the parking is strange. Anyway, we're going to go. I'm going to go for the whole playlist at Molineux. I think it needs a revamp. Everything. I think more Led Zeppelin, less Sweet Caroline. The Liquidator's out of our hands, isn't it? Really. Chelsea are allowed it for some reason. It annoys me every time on Match of the Day.
Can't Albion have it as well?
Albion
do they?
Yeah, Albion do.
Yeah. Oh, it's so stupid, man. Get that in. Whoever made that, put that in as well. Chuck him in. And there was another one that I don't like, but I forgot what it is.
Bring back Glorious.
Yeah. Glorious. That's the one. That's got to be tough. Oh, what a banger.
That come up
that was
on Match of the Day, wasn't it?
Yeah, Match of the Day. They must be watching the Talking Wolves podcast. And then I think as well, with Hi-O Silver Lining, we need fans with better rhythm if we're going to go for it. Because I don't know if you noticed, but the clapping tempo, honestly, mate, we're all over the place. It's so simple, but they're just
You're everywhere
and nowhere.
baby.
You're everywhere and everywhere.
Oh, mate. But it's not the best argument, I'll be honest, but I think there's a strong case.
Fair one.
So which one is it, mate? Which one do you want to put in Room 101?
Oh yeah, the playlist is going, and I think we could put one together between us, and it would get us going any game because the atmosphere. I think the Newcastle game, it wasn't especially rowdy either, despite Bruno saying we were amazing. It wasn't great, so I think we could put a playlist together that could get us going.
Blame the South Bank, mate. They're shit at the minute.
North Bank FC.
Put them in Room 101.
Yeah, put the South Bank in Room 101. Yeah, the atmosphere weren't great, but to be fair, I sit in the North Bank, so kids in
I,
glass
I,
houses.
I thought it was all right until I started it. You know why he didn't get going? You know what chant I like is, cheer up Stevie Bruce. They sang it a couple of years ago. They didn't sing that. I was waiting for it all game.
And they did the big fat head one as well, didn't they?
Yeah,
Mate, you should have got it going.
Newcastle fans started joining in with that Steve Bruce one,
Yeah.
and then, but yeah, I should have got it going, man. I love that one. I think that, but the South Bank was all right. I think the issue is that Newcastle are probably the best set of away fans we've had so far this season. But just how they're positioned, you just can't get any atmosphere going, which is a good thing in a way. But at the same time, there's just no to and fro. So,
Okay. So, Finn, we've got the match day playlist at Molyneux. Dave, what would you like to bring to the table to put into room 101?
See, mine's a little bit on the same wavelength as Finn's, and I'm sure people when they heard it were hoping for some proper juicy ones. So I'll leave it to Harry. I'm gonna go like opposite, sort of almost the opposite angle. No halftime entertainment game. Bring them back, basically. So putting no game in the room.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I like that. I like that because remember you used to get like
Bet you can score
a penalty and then 18-yard box. And
Bet you can score. Yeah, get that one
was
back.
class. Even when they had like the was it like the disabled supporters trust?
Yeah, that was
like
sick. That was class.
Mate, it was better than the fucking game.
Remember the one they used to do down by the North Bank and had like holes in the goal, and if you got one, it was like £5 grand.
Yeah.
My mate did that and went ass over tit. He went on and fell over the old Molyneux.
Yeah, and then you get one. You get some. Always happens if you have entertaining games. You get some Udago on with his missus, and then he proposes to her, doesn't he? Always happens.
Every time.
So you got to bring that back. That is just because now what happens? You've got Ben Whittaker coming on, going mad on the first game of the season. The PA system's dead. They're pre-recording all the interviews now. There's just no. Yeah, you got to bring back a half-time game.
Dave,
PA system's on its ass as well, isn't it? Like it doesn't matter who they're interviewing, you can't hear it.
Yeah. Dave, how much money would we have to pay you for you to propose at half-time at a Wolves game?
To live.
Oh my! Lib would say no, so I'm not even.
Say it was right.
Try.
Next season, it was the first round of the Carabao Cup against
word.
Northampton at half-time.
Jeez.
Will you marry me? No,
on the big screen.
I would do it, but Lib would say no. Genuinely,
would you actually do it?
Well, fuck
That's
it.
cheesy, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
No,
I could not do that, mate.
Well,
like,
did you get married at Molyneux?
Nah,
There's definitely someone listening to this, so we've got to be careful what we're saying here. There's a few people that have done that.
If you're both Wolves fans, maybe it's not. But
I'd like to keep that separate. Like both things in life that probably make me really miserable. I'd like to keep them separate. Nah, you couldn't propose to the Lib at like half time. would you actually? If you guaranteed you'd say yes, would you do it?
Oh, I don't know. Nah, probably not.
Do it live on
I'd
YouTube.
get known. I'd be a meme on Twitter, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you
because
would,
nowadays, like back the last time it happened must have been 4 or 5 years,
years.
and social media wasn't that big a thing. Now you'd get absolutely mauled for it. It's the best when what do they normally chant? Like they'll chant no, don't they?
Yeah,
No.
boo.
Boo.
You can't really. Yeah, mate. Like imagine proposing and then like just saying like, nah, you're all right in front of like 30,000 people.
I know.
That you've then got to go
They
back to next Saturday.
Pedence walks along the halfway line throwing some flowers out as you do it, little page boy.
Little pride
Now,
mate.
half-time game, they need it lucrative amount of money, very unique challenge, maybe one from each stand, get it back. Take up about 5 minutes of time doing it, and then a brand new Spotify playlist made by Finn Morris for the other 10 minutes. There you go.
So you're putting current halftime.
He's going into the room and taking them back out.
Yeah,
Cheerleaders and all. He's
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Currently putting and bringing with me, what's his name? Jason. Bring
Jason
him back.
Forrest.
Yeah, bring back Jason Forrest as well. He's there.
Number
Yeah.
9. Bro, him and
Yeah, he's coming with me. Me and Jason Forrest with a new consortium to start halftime entertainment.
Yeah, I reckon we should do it. I reckon they should let Talking Wolves do the halftime entertainment. Like,
We would probably be banned. We'd probably get Wolves deducted points by the Premier League for our halftime entertainment.
I reckon ours would be class. It could just be us just talking about the game. Get Harry on as a special guest. Saying that,
I do that.
Park.
Where was it?
Get
now?
Tom Parker on, but we only get 15 minutes. So.
I think it was Derby. They had like a full they almost a bit like Wolves do that match day live like that, but during half time before the game,
Rams
like
TV,
analysis.
innit?
Rams TV,
Rams
yeah,
TV,
that was quite good. City do it as well, but I don't think
Can't
they
imagine they've got the
broadcast
budget
it.
for that anymore, Derby.
Oh.
Okay, Harry, what are you putting into room 101?
Yeah, so I had to think about it. The first one I was going to do was a bit like Finn's parking one. It was
Yeah.
replace the North Bank roof because obviously I got wet. But I'm going to go with this, and I hope I don't upset many people, which I feel like I will. I'm going to have to put Mr. Miami in room 101.
Oh my word!
I know that's right.
Was that Jimenez then? I just said Jimenez.
What I will say is, I think he's funny. I do like his TikToks, but he used to be a United fan allegedly, and I'm fed up of seeing everyone just go on about it every bloody week about
are we
him having
talking about
tickets
Mr.
for
Miami
free.
or Finn?
I was going to say,
things like
Harry,
that,
everyone
and-
gets that accusation.
Yeah, and he gets a free ticket in the press box. Maybe I'm just salty, but
Sounds like
it just it's a bit controversial, isn't it? And I think the videos are okay that they do, and it's nice that they're trying stuff. But for me, I'd put Mr. Miami in room 101 and not see him
Oh my
on the
word!
Wolves YouTube channel ever again. That's my opinion.
Who would you have
Don't
presented
hunt me
instead,
down.
Harry?
I absolutely love it.
He's an avid listener of this podcast as well. You ain't gonna be happy.
I do, Mr. Miami, if you're listening.
He's not.
No, I ain't going to dig myself out of a hole. I
I'm
think
a
his
big
videos are
fan,
brilliant.
however, I never want to see you at a Wolves game ever again, is what Harry's saying.
I just don't want
That's
Wolves
good.
to use
I
him
like
again,
his. I
that's
like
all.
his TikToks.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like his TikToks. But, to be fair,
Controversial though, isn't it? That's what Room 101's about. Get people
I
talking.
guess a lot of people get round. I mean, I'm particularly not really asked about him, but you see loads of fans getting really wound up about him, and it's just one of them, isn't it? Like the club are trying different things and trying to appeal to a newer audience, a younger audience, but you don't like it because it's not a familiar face. If they're getting Meleeves doing it, they'd fucking love it.
I'm the Dar in this situation. It's
No, you see the TikTok or the video? He had KFC in the stadium.
Yeah.
That's proper American, though, ain't that?
Yeah, but the pie I had on Saturday was absolutely shit, so I'm tempted to do it next time again. Get Mr.
Order a
Mr.
Domino's.
Ticker in. They should do at Molyneux what they do at Warwickshire Bears. It's called the Bear Pit. I don't know if you lads have ever been to Warwickshire, but you get the chance to win. I've actually won it a couple of times. So there's a dugout on the boundary for the games, and I think you get 6 people or 8 people in there. Every person wins 20 cans and a pizza delivered at half time. So you
They did that for a bit of Wolves, didn't they? Was it Papa John's or something like that? Used to Domino's. Delivered something into a random chair.
You can't drink with inside the game, so
Yeah.
yeah. That's what, Harry. Fair play for putting your bollocks on the line.
that's right.
Oh, what's it going to be then? So Finn's matchday playlist, Dave's halftime experience, or
With
Mr.
Jason
Miami.
Forrest.
Yeah, with Jason Forrest.
And a t-shirt shooter. Bring them back as well.
Oh, the t-shirt cannon.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what, mate? That swayed it for me.
Yeah.
To halftime experience and going in room 101
Yeah.
on the agreement that we get
Come
Jason
on.
Forrest back. Dave has a
Yes,
party
if
wet
you listen.
t-shirt competition. What was the gift blaster and think you can score.
Oh,
Mate,
yes.
the prizes used to be decent, didn't they? Used to be 20 bags in you if you
I reckon they do it. I reckon you have to the final one. If you get all the way, the final boss is 20 grand from the opposite box. If you can get it without it bouncing, I reckon. That's
Mate, if you did that, you got a fucking good chance of coming on at half time.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that at half time. I remember scoring for the Albion fans in the South Bank when they had the South Bank. I was a mascot that day, and they used to get the mascots on at half time. And put,
They don't do that anymore, do they?
Nah, they a little.
Mascots
I
used to
was-
do kickabouts, wouldn't they?
And they used
I
to
got
just
so
I
nervous
whipped
doing
it top
them.
bins and shush the Albion fans at age 9 or 10.
I did that to Blackpool away. Yeah, got called Justin
We had
Bieber.
you remember you said about the Wolves Foundation playing. It was against Cardiff, remember? Because when we I think we scored last minute. The one Wolves kid was doing. Was it the Alatoya that they do? The Cardiff fans.
The Pat the
Yeah,
Red.
yeah.
Oh,
One of the
yeah,
Wolves
yeah.
Foundation kids started doing that for the Cardiff fans.
That's brilliant.
I love that. Mate, that was class that day. Like, I think they've done it a couple of times since, haven't they? But it's really good. Really good spectacle. And it must be class for them, like them lads to and girls to go out there and play in front of Molyneux. Like, it must be such an unbelievable experience.
We have to pay an absolute fortune to do it.
Mate, they played some better stuff than us in that charity game. Harry Mantle played all right for 5 minutes, blowing out his
Knackered.
ring piece for the next set.
On
Hold the
the
line.
half-time games, whenever I can remember, I used to watch them, and I used to think that'd be so easy. But after playing on Molyneux, you see how big the pitch is. I'm like, I ain't even reaching the goal from the halfway line on that game.
Nah, you would.
Nah, we're
All right.
quality.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But that's we put in half time in room 101 and bring in back Jason Forrest and the works. I think it's time for some questions, boys. Let me just get the questions up on. We'll start with Twitter first. Talking Wolves, you just bear with me.
Got one here, Dave. Says, if Leon Bailey was in at Sainsbury's, what would he sound like?
Oh my god. Bad, yeah.
Thanks for the photo.
Hi, your mate. Can I have a photo, please, Harry? Swat on there. The fan cast have tweeted us, our mates, with a picture of Dave as a party looking rather somber in the dugouts, and Molyneux saying, "Who was the last Wolves player that had you sat in your seat like Dave above, thinking, how the hell has he made it professional?"
Jesus
Dave.
Vallejo.
Vallejo. Nah, for me, the two that came to the top of my head, I remember Huddersfield. It was only a few years ago. I had a guy called, I think his name was Colin Quainer.
Quite, yeah, big
forward
big
guy.
shoulders.
And he played at Molyneux, and I was just watching. I was like, who was it? I actually thought he'd won a competition to play because he was. I'm bringing it back. He was gash. He was. The other one was I want to say Charlie Daniels of Bournemouth, but that's not him. Who's the other fullback? He was like I thought he was again another one that won a competition. What was his name now? But it wasn't Charlie Daniels.
There's a Smith that was there for a while. I'm trying to.
Leave it with me. But yeah, there was a Bournemouth fullback. But move on, and I'll find out his
Cook,
name.
is it?
Nah, I'll find his
Adam
name.
Smith?
No,
Yeah, I was thinking Smith.
I'll find
Charlie
it.
Daniels
Carry on.
scored a few bangers first season.
It
in
wasn't
Prem.
Charlie
He was
Daniels. He's a
alright,
little
yeah.
bit younger, isn't he? What's his name?
Yeah.
Tall, lanky, skinny guy.
Philip Billing.
Wait. No, not
Not
Billing.
Philip Billing, was it? He was huge, lanky.
I'll find
Yeah,
it in a minute.
Billing causes multiple problems. What about the last Wolves player, Dave? Could still be playing.
I saw a few people mention a couple of names, which I thought was very harsh. Now you know what, I'm not with Wolves players. I'm very rarely. I don't jump on many players' backs. So Connor Cody maybe. No, I'm joking. Nah. I don't. I'm fair with all Wolves players, I think.
Joe's got a great agent, Andy Lonergan. He's had some good moves.
Oh,
hasn't
him,
he?
yeah, what a shout. Yeah, he was whack. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
whack. Yeah. Andy
He got
Lonergan.
some good moves after us.
Tell you what though, if you never you watch football, but you've only just started watching it, and then you look at this player like, well, he played for Preston, he went to Leeds, then he went to Fulham, then he was at Wolves, then he was at Middlesbrough, then he ended up at Liverpool, Stoke, West Brom, and Everton. You think, fucking hell, there must be some player in. That's the Andy Lonergan.
I've bookmarked the video. You remember when the cross came in, like right next to him, and he just like flung himself away from the ball?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
That
Brighton.
was horrific. That was.
Oh, it's probably still better than Ruddy though. I'm all right, lads. Don't actually mind, would I? Harry, who was the last player you saw and you wondered how has he made it as a professional?
I'll stick with Jesus Vallejo.
Jesus Vallejo.
Yeah. Or Mark
Yeah.
Clyde.
Mark
Yeah,
Clyde.
that's a blast from the past.
Flipping it. We tried to get him on the. I'm sure we tried to get him on the podcast.
Oh, shit.
you know.
Sorry, Mark, if you're listening.
I met him at West Midlands Safari Park when I was a nipper.
He retired early, didn't he? Well, then he come back
Yeah.
and went to Kiddie. He was like, he had a bit of a short career.
Yeah, his knees are bollocks, aren't they?
Mm.
Finn, who's a player that you thought, fuck me, how's he made it?
I'm going to stick with Andy Lonergan, I think, especially with
In
that.
France.
Yeah, with that. Yeah.
No, it's Charlie Daniels. I think the guy I'm on about.
It was.
Yeah.
Charlie.
He was dead, man. Yeah, dead baller.
Dead baller. This question is from Cri Woodward. Is centre mid the priority for January? If Renato Sanchez was the only signing, would it be a successful window? Just a little caveat to that. He came on for Lille the other night, which obviously is a little bit contradictory to what Wolves said that he's going to be out until what Tim Spear said via Wolves. He's going to be out until like December. But would you be happy with just him being signed in the summer? I cannot for the life of me see just him coming in.
No.
I mean, the centre-back situation in January is mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Bolly and that going, so.
It's got to be a centre-back and a centre-mid. The Sanchez thing is unbelievable. I can't get made around that at all. Like,
it's a good job we won, wasn't it? Against Newcastle, or that would have really blown up on social.
The window genuinely shut. When did he play? Like Sunday? The window would have shut, like more or less bang on a month after, before that. So why are we worried that, unless
they just lie.
Unless the main reason is that we just didn't know what his current fitness situation was and couldn't tell over Omegle or chat roulette or whatever.
When you do your medical over Omegle.
But it was made out that it was made out that he was out till like early December, wasn't it? So the fact that he's packed already, is mad.
Yeah, it did make me laugh though. Like the clip he put up, he did really well. And the cross he put in was absolutely wank.
I didn't see the cross. I just saw the hole.
Oh, mate, it was dreadful. But, like, the same people who moan about Adama's own product, they're saying, like, we've fucked it here. We ain't got Sanchez. Like, if Adama does that, then I'm going mad. But, yeah, we've got Bolly and Sace leaving. Is it December 20th?
Yeah.
Potentially, Nouri if he decides he wants to play for Algeria. So we got Mosquera out, so that leaves Kilman, Cody,
Marcel maybe.
Marcel.
That back four, Semedo and Hoover. Oh, you could play Hoover back three.
Would Dendonka go back as well? We need him in midfield, don't we? We need him in midfield.
No. Christmas is a write-off.
Because look, after the 20th, you've got a game, possibly on that weekend. You've got a game
Liverpool,
on Boxing Day. You've got a game on 28th. You've got a game on New Year's Day. And that's even before you could bring anyone in.
Yeah.
So unless
Christmas, we're getting nothing. We've got a horrible run at Christmas.
As always, we play Arsenal on a Tuesday night. Was that the 28th? I think 2 days after Boxing Day. Arsenal away.
Strange.
It could be quite a bleak Christmas. We got United on New Year's Day, haven't we as well?
Yep. Horrible. We had the same last year though, didn't we? We played like United, Liverpool, Spurs. And the year before, Liverpool City, straight after each other.
We get Liverpool, all the time. Got it again.
Oh, bloody hell. It could be a bleak Christmas. Could be really, really bad. Moving on, Sam Gollings. How on earth does Marcel still start for this club? I know we've passed over that, but I think that's a little bit harsh. Like, he's been shit, but I can see why he's
Ain't nobody couldn't see for a week. That's why.
Yeah. Johnny Boy has asked, Hwang now has to be a starter against Villa. Is there any future at Wolves for Fabio Silva and Adama Traore?
I saw a lot of people asking about the Adama thing, saying that he wasn't starting because of his contract, which I think was
nonsense.
I don't know. I don't think there's 100% truth in that, because like what we sort of mentioned earlier, Bruno's sort of, bearing in mind it's Southampton, the front three were Jimenez and then the only two other players that had scored for us all season. So that's sort of, probably part of the reason why we started them. I think now the Adama thing, I am very surprised that he didn't come on earlier in the two games.
He looked pissed off warming up, Barmo. He looked really wound up.
And when he came off, he walked straight down the tunnel.
He did.
I think he has to, for me, if he doesn't start against Villa, I think there's a problem there. Yeah. Hwang has got his place sealed now. You got to bear in mind, Adama, not necessarily out of position, but for 50% of the games that he had played, he was playing on the opposite wing to what you would probably class as his stronger side. But now Hwang's played on the left and pretty much solidified his place there. Adama has got every right to just come back into the team in his strongest position. So I'd start him against Villa. Like you said about earlier, Matt Target probably only lasts 15 minutes. I think he's come off injured the last 2 times he's played him. So, but Silva definitely has it. Again, this is in the quotes that Lars has said. A lot of people may be saying that he deserves or needs a loan move. Yeah, possibly. But more 23s football, I think, we're doing good as well. I think especially with the level that the 23s are playing at this year.
Cool. We've got a question on Instagram from Harry Paynes. Interested to hear your thoughts on the Bolly situation, being on the bench. Finn, what do you reckon of that, mate? I thought
He looked quite happy warming up.
I think the back three
Yeah,
did
he
all right
was
the
having a
weekend
whale
as
of a time warming up with Pedence.
Yeah, he loved him and Dendonka a lot. They couldn't keep their hands off each other.
Yeah, he was lovely. He seemed quite happy. But no, I think he gets in there. For me, I'd go Kilman on the left, Cody and Bolly. I think there's still a few situations where Kilman on his right foot, it just gets us into trouble through no fault of his own, just from being on the wrong side. So for me, it'd be that. Although Safe's put in a lot of great tackles at the weekend, it's just his passing. Good. Yeah, him and Marcel, the passing just wasn't there. And I think Bolly's so calm. And I think that's a good mix of a back three if we're going to continue with that. But he should be like up to speed now, shouldn't he, training wise? It's not as if he's not fully there.
He played well against Spurs in the Cup, I thought. He did all right.
Yeah, he did. Is it just me? It might just be. He looks like he's bulked out even more. I think he looks bigger than what he's ever looked as well.
Adama.
Bolly.
Sorry.
Bolly.
Yeah, I thought that as well. He looks
Against Spurs, he looks massive. Yeah, maybe it's just because we're not seeing him in the flesh for a while.
Next to Brian Gill, that's why.
Yeah, true.
We've had quite a few questions, all basically asking the same thing. But I'm going to pick out Ad Sidaway because he's a friend of the show. When Neto's back, who the hell do you pick out of him? Hwangi Chan, Traore, Pedence, Tinkar, Jimenez as the front three. 4-4, fucking 2. Who'd you pick? Harry?
Like Finn just said, I'd say, yeah.
That's the end game, isn't it?
Yeah, Wang and Raul up top, and then Neto and Adama on the wings.
You'd hope by the time he's fully back, fit and sharp, it'll be a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1 with like Wang maybe behind the striker and then Neto, Adama or whoever on the wings. But again, there's no guarantee he's going to be back and be the same player that we saw last season rather.
Question here from Hugo Sundberg. Do you think Morgan Gibbs-White will be starting for Wolves next season? A good start, but let's not get carried away.
I thought he'd be in the England squad this year, so don't listen to what I said.
Still might be.
Wasn't him and Brittany at Salt Bay's restaurant the other day?
Probably. God knows.
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram.
Salt Bay.
It is Salt Bay, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a bad dickhead, he's.
Room 101.
Yeah, Salt Bay. He's seen the grub he's serving up as well. Like he just cooks it in like hot butter with like a bread roll. He breaks up his hands. He said,
and that's 600 quid as well. It's like a lot of money.
I envy him that people are like willing to part ways with the cash.
I'll do that for a £5 if they want me to.
Ridiculous. Last question, because I'm conscious of the time. Should Fabio Silva go on loan in January? David Azzopardo.
Oh man. I'm a bit of a Fabio fanboy, to be fair. I don't know. This is probably a weird way for me to look at it. My concern is, bearing in mind the club have spent that amount of money on him, if he goes to the Championship and flops, right, kills his confidence, kills his value, and that's it. But on the flip side of that, he goes to the Championship and absolutely kills it, then it's a dangerous one, really. And I think for the time being, maybe one more year in and around the first team and then evaluate it come the summer. He's not breaking into the first team as a starter anytime soon. Yeah, it's a difficult situation for me, but I don't think it'll happen in January. I think it's probably a situation they'll evaluate come summer next year.
If it means anything, that he went on loan to Cardiff on my FM. And he got 27 league goals. So if you get something similar to that, then you'd be laughing. But you are right, Dave.
Have we got a big enough squad to let him go out on loan?
Nah, not this
year. The FA Cup, do you know what I mean? He played all them games, wasn't he? The one game.
It was annoying because he played really well against Forest in the Carabao Cup. Really well, which obviously is a good sign, you could say. But against Spurs, obviously, he just looked a little bit out of his depth. So, but the 23s, every time he plays, he tends to put the ball in the back of the net. So, and I'm not saying it's his level, but maybe the Championship in the right team. I think that's what Wolves have got to be really cautious with, and not abroad to some chiefs like grasshoppers.
Nah, if you send him to Grasshoppers, he's finished, if you ask me.
So saying that, Bendigood's Boller is banging it over there. But saying that, so is Bonatini. So
Is he? Bonatini's doing it
they've
as
scored
well.
a few. Campana barely scored though. They've got must have a massive squad. Should play different goal scorer every time I look at them.
Harry, what do you reckon we should do with him?
I think keep him as backup. Get his chance in the cup games, and it was only 2 games ago. People were questioning whether Raul should still be in the team. So
Very good
We're all
point.
fickle.
Very good point. What about you, Finn? What do you reckon we should do with him?
If by the end of January we were out the cup and we've literally just got league games, 1 game a week, I can see if there was a recall option just for like the few months and a recall option, I don't think I'd be too
I don't think
against that.
You can't recall
Can you
players
not?
outside windows anymore. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. So yeah, because
So I
we
saw
can
a
only
lot of people
recall
saying that about Morgan.
we can only do it in January, can't we?
Yeah.
You can't just leave yourself with one of that profile striker. I don't think. I was trying to come up with something in my head then to play devil's advocate, but no, I think you keep him around.
That's fair enough. I do feel for the lad. Like, it's not his fault. He's cost 35 million. But interesting what Bruno Lage had to say about him today, Dave. I know you posted on Talking Walls. Is it? Sometimes it's the challenge. The challenge is here, something like that. I'll get the quote up now.
Yeah.
Bruno Lage and Fabio Silva. Fabio is in my plans. I can see him as a striker. Sometimes what's important at this age is to not run away from the challenge. The challenge is here. So for me, that suggests he's staying anyway.
Yeah. The rest of the quote basically said that he's just working really, really hard. And I think the journalist that asked the question was trying to compare him to João Felix. And Lage said that he thinks they can both be on the same level, but they're completely different players. So it's just going to be a matter of time before he can get there, really. So if he's saying it and he, I think if they, I don't know, and his brother is a very, very, well-renowned almost, coach at getting the best out of young players. You got the right people to help, hopefully, nurture him into a good player.
Hopefully, mate, because I paid a lot of money for him, and it's going to look quite bad if he does go out on loan or flops or whatnot. But like I said, it's not his fault. He cost 35 million. I think that's it, lads. We whistled through that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Should they wish, Dave?
Dave has a party on Twitter and YouTube. Started uploading again on my own YouTube, but yeah, Dave has a party. Check it out.
How are you getting on in your career mode, mate?
Oh, very badly. Very, very badly.
I watched the one where at the Spurs game.
Yeah, offline. It's weird. Offline FIFA is not for me. It's weird. I'm absolutely banging it online this year, but offline I'm dreadful.
Yeah, I'm bad on both.
I'm absolutely dreadful at FIFA.
Weird,
horrendously bad. But Finn, where can people find you? Should they wish?
Finners, FINERRZ, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. South Korean mukbang coming soon. Mexican, I don't know.
You'd be no good at a mukbang, mate. All you eat is Rivitas.
Yeah. Just come with no sauce. Just Korean beef, just a pile.
Grill it. Mukbang it, grill it. Harry, where can people find yourself in the 77 Club? Should they wish? Not that they would, because your podcast is shit. Many joking, lads. Many joking.
Yeah, Harry Mansell on YouTube and Twitter, and 77 Club on YouTube, Twitter, and that as well. Yeah, same sort of thing.
Cool. Are they all right with you coming on this week? Have you been released?
Yeah, mate. We ain't doing one this week since international break, but yeah, man. We get like a third of the listeners a year, don't we? So it don't really matter.
It doesn't matter, mate. You shouldn't be doing it for the listeners.
No, we do it for the fun, mate. We love it. We absolutely love it.
You're a good bunch of lads. Real good bunch of lads. People can find me at mcooperwrites on Twitter and Instagram, and on YouTube at Matt Cooper Bites. But someone sent a question in saying big up Martin Cooper Bites, whether Martin Cooper Bites is. That must be when you order it off wish.com.
Your cousin.
Yeah, I haven't got. Yeah, it's not called Martin. Dave, want to send out this show out the see out the show?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, obviously, thanks a lot, everyone, for listening again. If you are listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you're listening on podcasts, Apple Podcasts, you can always leave us a review as well. Leave us 5-star, and if you're able to, leave us a little comment about the show. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you all very soon.